Okay, so I want to show you how to use image trace and Illustrator, and I'm going to show you by vectorizing a couple of things here and how you can see the capabilities of what it has. This is a really good option when a client sends you a logo and it is not vectorized. So I received this PDF and I was like, yeah, this is not a vectorized option. I know this because if I double click, it is like image within an image and I cannot move or edit these, individually. So I will need to vectorize it for my project. So first thing is I'm going to kind of clean it up here. It looks like it's kind of within a clipping mask or a square. So I'm going to go to Object, Clipping Mask, Release. And you can instantly see that there's like there's a square and a rectangle. Kind of want to get rid of that square. So delete that. And then you can see there's a white space too as well because, excuse me, there is this white kind of sticking out. So we're going to delete that too. I like to keep a copy of it, command copy, command paste, just in case the original. And the first thing we're going to do is rasterize this by going to object, let's see, object, rasterize, RGB, okay. Now, the next thing we want to do is go to Windows, Image Trace. This will bring up the panel that'll give you more options. So that way you can have a little bit more options to work with. What I like to do is do default, tracing results, color, and you kind of play around with this to see what it will do for you. Sometimes you have to say, Command Z and try something different and play. There's so many different options on image trace, but for now, I'm just showing you those basic ones to show you what it will do. And it does take a little bit of time because it is creating vectors. Okay, so I had to forward a little bit because that was taking quite some time. And looking at it now, it looks like it was because of the drop shadows that are in the back. So if you kind of zoom into this one, you can see the drop shadows. So it's trying to recreate that. So this isn't the best example. Maybe we don't want to do color for this one. I'm going to hit Command Z or not even Command Z. I'm going to delete this and then get a copy of this. And I'm going to go back to image. Well, we have to rasterize. As you can see, I tried to use image trace, but it won't let me use it because it is not rasterized. So we're going to go to object, or no, it's, yeah, object rasterize. And now I'm going to just do black and white. And then default, tracing's fine. I'm going to do a less threshold, means like less points and anchors. And I'm going to hit trace. And see, okay, that did not do that. Let's just do black and white trace. Perfect. So as you can see, this is a much more clean and crisp option. Sometimes you have to play around with the different options there. Less threshold wasn't working, so I just stuck to the regular middle threshold. Now, this is where you have to uh, basically ungroup it from its frame here. So you're going to go to Object, Image Trace, Expand. And then we're going to go to Object Ungroup. And basically, it has created this white square here. So if I were to grab all this and bring it to the side, because there's a white canvas, you're going to see that there's a square it created. So I'm going to delete that. You'll have to zoom in and really take it apart. So get all the white spots, that part, anything that doesn't go there because it's vectorized everything within it. Let's come in and see because I don't know what it took here. Sometimes you have to really zoom in, make sure you're grabbing the right things. So we have a pretty good version of that. The only thing, obviously, oh, and since it's ungrouped, you want to make sure that everything gets grouped back together. So I'm going to object group this together. And then now I'm going to grab my handy dandy eyedropper to get the same color. That is this actual logo, as you can see there. And then one thing that is missing is the drop shadow. So if I go to effects on the right side, we go to drop shadow, stylize, drop shadow. And you kind of have to mess around with this because it depends on, I think it's not as heavy as a drop shadow, but it's going to take a little bit of fingling around and bringing down the uh, drop shadow to make it match the actual logo, which I think I got way too low. So now I am going up a little bit more. Okay. I think that's looking about right. Maybe I'd probably move it a little bit more and play around with drop shadow, but I think this is a pretty good version of that. And now it's vectorized. It can be, made as big or as little as possible. So that is perfect when you're making actually very large banners or stickers or things that you need to modify it with. Or if sometimes they bring it in and you just want a black and white, put it on a poster, that's a good option. Now, someone had mentioned in one of my classes, beginner illustrator classes, if you can bring in an image. I mean, I always recommend um, using the pen tool for this stuff because you're going to get the most clean, crisp lines ever. But there, you can use image trace. This is like something that I drew and brought in. So I'll show you guys how that's done. And basically, it is going to image trace everything in here. So it could be worth it to even bring it into Photoshop and crop it out so you don't get anything else. But just for purposes of showing you quickly here, I am going to show you how to have the best option of doing this and what it does. So default, high fidelity colors. Since this isn't, anything that I'm going to use other than just to like create something fun and it's not like I need to stick to any colors. I'm just going to do black and white logo. Um, okay, cancel. Okay, we're actually gonna rasterize this first. Object rasterize. Okay. And then we're gonna go to tracing results. Let's see. We're gonna do black and white logo. Okay. See what that does. So usually, yeah, you can see that it's rasterized almost everything in here. So we're gonna go to object, image, trace, expand is what we're doing. So we're going to do so that will ungroup everything so we can start editing and removing the stuff we don't want. And then we're going to go to object, ungroup. So now if you zoom in, you can see that these things are edible. So I don't need that. I can even grab my cursor here and just grab this whole top, delete that. And now you can see that the main stuff is here. As you can see, it is not necessarily the most perfect vectors. If you zoom in, it has kind of rough edges, probably stuff that you don't want. It's not horrible. It can be used for some stuff, for fun, for something quick. But if you're really wanting this to be something that's going to be sold to a client or that's going to be a t-shirt, the cleaner, the crisp of an edge that you want, the better. So there's some things you can play around with here on the image trace option here to kind of clean them up a little bit, but it starts losing. So this is what image trace will do for like an image that you bring in that you may have drawn, and it's up to you to decide if you're happy with it. But yeah, you'll definitely want to remove some of the white spots. So like if I wanted just this little guy, if I zoom in, you see there's a bunch of little whites there. Or you can delete it and that will be your guide there. So all these little pieces can be edited. I mean, you could even go in with the pen tool and hit smooth. So if you select your object and then you hit the smooth tool, you can come in and smooth this out. And this is not bad actually. This is a good option as well. Is you smooth out all these lines, which would definitely change your initial sketch. So it wouldn't look the same, but this is looking already like way more crisp. You can go in manually and edit the using the direct selection tool, you can edit every little place that you didn't like how it turned out and kind of get it where you want it to, and then go back in and use the smooth tool. And you have to make sure to be selecting the object, but smooth tool is under shaper tool. Smooth, 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 and you're kind of having better, cleaner, crisp lines there. So this is a good option, I think, if you're not committed to it being exactly like your illustration that you drew. So yeah, that is in a nutshell image trace. Like I said, you want to play around a little bit more with the options here, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you have to go in and do some editing on it. So that's why sometimes I like to just go in and use the pen tool to vectorize things and know exactly how I want it. But this is another option to go ahead and save yourself some time as well. My name is Viridiana, and I just started this YouTube channel. I want to empower Latinas to design and create. So if you have any other suggestions of other things you want to see, go ahead and drop them in the comments. If you're looking to take a beginner Illustrator class, I'll also include that link at the bottom. I hold them almost monthly, and I have other classes coming soon.